Hello, and welcome to English Language Arts at Jeffrey Trail Middle School. The purpose of this video is to outline some concerns with traditional grading practices and introduce the innovative changes that we will implement in 7th grade GATE and 8th grade Honors ELA this year to address those concerns. My name is Rochelle Zuniga, and I teach 7th grade GATE Language Arts.
My name is Macy Hong, and I teach both GATE 7th grade Language Arts and 8th grade Honors ELA.
And I'm Abraham Angel, and I teach 8th grade Honors Language Arts. First, we would like to share some of our concerns regarding traditional grading practices. Traditional grading is subjective and complicated. Letter grades do not accurately reflect what a student knows. Instead, they focus more on the accumulation and average of points rather than on the mastery of a specific learning target. As a result, many students have become more concerned with the number of points associated with the task rather than the learning itself. Additionally, the averaging of points over a 12-week period is an inaccurate reflection of a student's most recent performance based on learning, growth, and mastery.
Learning is a process. We want to encourage students to embrace a growth mindset whereby feedback and revision provide invaluable opportunities for students to make mistakes. People with growth mindsets believe that capability and intelligence can be developed through effort, struggle, and failures. Challenges offer opportunities to learn. Students with a growth mindset are destined for greater academic success.
Very little research supports the effectiveness of traditional grading practices. However, many people are reluctant to change this 120-year-old system. Grading practices are not always the result of sound evidence. Rather, they are used because teachers experience these practices as students and, having little training or experience with other options, continue their use. Simply put, traditional grades have become efficient yet ineffective ways of summarizing student performance without providing an accurate understanding of skills and knowledge.
We already know that students can learn without grades, but they cannot learn without timely and descriptive feedback that will help them achieve success. Our primary goal this year is to focus on the mastery of learning targets through continued practice, consistent feedback, and student self-reflection, without the emphasis on points and traditional letter grades. To do this effectively, we will be using a variety of methods to share your child's progress with you throughout the marking period.
While grades are meant to provide information about a child's progress, oftentimes they can cause undue stress. The moment that grades become something more than communication, the true purpose of a grade is lost. This year, we will use Aries to track your child's progress with the learning targets within each unit of study. However, we will track student progress using a 4-point scale instead of an average of points accumulated. To be clear, these numbers do not add up to any grade at this point. As a result, the mark that you see in Aries will be a good estimate of how your child is progressing with the learning targets, but it may not be the actual grade that goes on the report card at the end of the trimester. These numbers may not entirely capture the thinking and understanding demonstrated in a student's work process and in our conversations.
Learning is now an ongoing conversation of student performance, critical feedback, and opportunities for revision. To maintain the focus on learning, each student will be tracking his or her own progress throughout each marking period using a Google document that is shared both with a teacher and with the parents. This Google Doc is designed to encourage students to take ownership of both their work and the evaluation of that work. It is their job to assess their skills on a scale of 0 to 4 and provide evidence from their body of work to support their self-assessment. Because it is our job to provide meaningful guidance and support, teachers will respond with specific feedback regarding the learning targets and suggested areas for continued growth. Moreover, it will provide opportunities for ongoing discussions regarding each student's self-assessment and the teacher feedback for improvement.
More effective grading systems require teachers to check students' performance regarding important standards repeatedly through the year. This shift in practice means that previously taught material will show up in subsequent lessons and assessments. What students carry forward beyond the current unit of study is a true testimony to the learning that has occurred.
Finally, we will meet with students near the end of each marking period so that together we can determine the truest and most appropriate summative mark for your child's grade. Jointly with the course teacher, individual students will review the trimester learning targets and his or her mastery of those targets shown in completed work to assess their own learning. These conversations are invaluable because they encourage students to think about what the quality of their work reveals about their skills. Instead of getting a grade because they did all of the work, they receive a grade that reflects their skill set. The joint review will ultimately determine the grade shown on each student's report card at the end of each marking period. This approach also means that grades don't just happen to students.
If you ever wonder, how is my kid doing? Speak with your child. He or she should have a good grasp of their abilities and progress because of the focus on student self-assessment and understanding of the learning targets. Also check the Common Core State Standard Google document. Each student is responsible for tracking their attempts and mastery of learning targets throughout each trimester. He or she will show their self-assessment, and teacher feedback will also be visible on this document. Also, check ARIES. Remember, this is a ballpark estimate of a student's mastery. What is shown is not necessarily the grade at the end of the marking period.
This shift in practice comes from the extensive research of innovative educators like Robert Marzano, Rick Wormley, Thomas Guskey, Carol Dweck, and Dr. Ken Robinson. We would also like to thank Catlin Tucker, Joy Kerr, Trevor McKenzie, Cassie Erkins, and Star Saxteen for sharing your journey and allowing us to follow your lead. And lastly, thank you to the Jeffrey Trail administration, Michael Giorgino and Kim Snowden for being supportive of this shift in our classrooms.